Hi guys, my name is Caesar Malana and I will congratulate Paris Saint-Germain to win the iconic continental treble after winning Champions League for over 50 years in the waiting. So yeah, and today I make another English storytelling on biography again, but I'm talking about Shinji Mikami, the man who developed Resident Evil in 1996, which making a golden era of survival horror, and why he left Capcom, and also why he left the company when he was found following the success before. So don't forget, like and subscribe and share to your family and friends. So let's begin the story, guys. Shinji Mikami was born on 11th of August 1965 in Iwakuni, Yamaguchi, Japan. So Shinji Mikami's family was a very difficult situation at the time. His father, who was dropped out of high school and joined the workforce in early and the support of them to beat him almost daily. During his childhood, there is no video games, but on full outdoor play, he stated, back in the days, the kids are somewhat full creative in the coming up with the games to play, and because we doesn't do much else to occupy your free time. And during his childhood, Mikami also wanted to dream to become a Formula One driver, and during his teenage year, becoming obsessed with horror films likes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Evil Dead, and also his likes of kendo and karate as his hobbies. After failing the exams in 2 years straight, he was enrolled and graduated in Daejeon University, where he was studied for merchandising. Before joining Capcom, Mikami often on arcade games his entrance to becoming in industry becoming confident. He stated, "A friend of mine had a found a flyer advertising some kind of job fair slash buffet party. Capcom was holding the Hilton. He gave me into because he knew like games. I went immediately because I won the Hilton for free. But once I stated, without King Capcom with the people and really getting the depth about the work they do, I thought sounded pretty neat. So I applied both Capcom and Nintendo and turned out a second round of interviews for companies with held tomatoes and likely because probably I never chance on a Nintendo. So Shinji Mikami was absolutely an arcade gamer before joining Capcom. So what a man. In 1990, Shinji Mikami joined Capcom as a junior game designer after many rejection of application of jobs and approved a week later. And Mikami and his fellow colleagues, he new hires of the and sent a warehouse to order to think hard about the game design in Capcom. During his first job at Capcom, he made a Disney licensed game likes of Who Framed Roger Rabbit on Game Boy and Aladdin and Goof Troop on Super Nintendo console. Aladdin was a big hit and selling over 1.75 million units worldwide. Mikami also learned observed by seniors when he was also to design document from making advice from freedom as well. Well, Mikami success making on Disney games with Capcom, which is learned to seniors like a younger lecturer to older students in uni. What a very crazy. So in 1993, Mikami began development of the Resident Evil, which set Haunted Mansion. Originally, the game was a remake of the Sweet House, the Famicom game before Mikami joined Capcom. So the director, Fujiwara, entrusted Mikami was initially reluctant to because being scared, which the project could be understood. It was frightening. Mikami said that Resident Evil was a response to the disappointment of Zombie 2, a 1979 Italian film which was directed by Lucio Fulci. Mikami determined the game also make none of his falling in the films. As a result, the game, titled in Biohazard in Japan, it was released on 22nd of March 1996 on the original PlayStation. So when the game was released in the United States, aka the West and Europe, the game was renamed Resident Evil, which because Capcom used localization in the US, and the game released on April 1st, 1996. So this is massive, and Resident Evil sales and PlayStation becoming bestseller at the time. So you can imagine the game becoming bestseller in the US, the UK, and Europe. So even made Resident Evil becoming the best Japanese import of horror game. This is great. Following the success of Resident Evil, Capcom made an internal restructure. The development of departments turned to a variety of divisions, and a number of the game directors promoted as leaders. Shinji Mikami, at the time of the success of Resident Evil, appointed as a general manager of Capcom Studio Production 4. The staff who made Resident Evil also joined Capcom Production Studio 4 as well. So the studio began to create a sequel of Resident Evil as Resident Evil 1 2, which again began development as Resident Evil 1.5. The protagonist, the protagonist was Elsa Walker, and before integrated into Claire Redfield, the sister of Chris Redfield. When Capcom developing Resident Evil 2, the dev creating a new main character like Leon S. Kennedy, a police officer in Raccoon City. The game will be released on original PlayStation on the 21st of January 1998 in Japan as Biohazard 2, and 8 days later it was released in North America as Resident Evil 2. The game was great success at the time, making another bestseller PlayStation 1 game in early 1998. So the game is absolutely masterpiece at the time. So I imagine the original PlayStation, you can't choose this of Leon and Claire because the disc was divided into two. What a nuts, man. Following the success of first two Resident Evil games, Mikami also directed Dino Crisis on PlayStation, which becoming a survival horror set in 2009 and the game dubbed as Resident Evil Meet Jurassic Park. Dino Crisis was released on the 1st of July 1999 in Japan, and 2 months later released in North America with a massive hit on the original PlayStation. And yes, the game was so critically acclaimed. So imagine playing Dino Crisis feels like make a better game for playing survival horror with dinosaurs and even make see dinosaur skeleton in museum like in the UK and the US and also around Rome. Feels like learn history that's absolutely creativity for Shinji Mikami on making horror games with dinosaur. Also, in the same year, Mikami becoming producer of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis or Biohazard 3 Last Escape in Japan and will be released on 22nd of September 1999 in Japan on the original PlayStation and in 11th of November 1999 in North America as well. And the game also received a universal acclaim by some reviewers. And yes, imagine you play Resident Evil 3. This is very good. You know, that was a great game. So, following the success of Resident Evil 2 1998 and Resident Evil 3 1999, Capcom also won development as a segmental version of Resident Evil 3 as Resident Evil called Veronica, which was produced by Shinji Mikami himself. And Mikami also won Code Veronica release on Sega's last ever console, the Dreamcast. And the game released on 3rd of February 2000 as Biohazard Code Veronica and in North America on 28th of March 2000. And the game was critically acclaimed, but the sales of Dreamcast was very negative and the impact of the game as well. Also, Capcom will release God Veronica X on PlayStation 2 on 22nd of March 2001 in Japan and 22nd of August 2001 in North America and received positive in PlayStation 2 version. And the version is more graphical than Dreamcast. Mikami later becoming the executive producer of Devil May Cry. It was supposed to be Resident Evil 4 development version, aka Biohazard 4, and the game released on PlayStation 2 in Japan on 23rd of August 2001 and 17th October 2001 in North America. The game becoming positive reviews. And imagine the game was supposed to be RE4, but changed into Devil May Cry. What a weird for gaming development. In 2001, Mikami directing the remake of the original Resident Evil for 2002 release, and the game could be released on Nintendo GameCube. So the production started with the four programmers because this remake was the first to Capcom games to develop into GameCube. So Capcom want to make 3D models with pre-rendered backgrounds like in very first Resident Evil, and the game will be released exclusively on Nintendo GameCube at the time on 22nd of March 2002 and Japan as a celebration of 6th anniversary of Biohazard aka Resident Evil, and 1 month later released in North America and received a critical acclaim, becoming the first ever Resident Evil remakes in this generation. So imagine the adult horror game in the kids console who made Mario series as a remake. This is a weird when Resident Evil, which is released on the remake as a GameCube exclusive. That is weird. Despite underwhelming sales of Resident Evil Zero, which as a prequel for Resident Evil, Mikami became confident with support on Nintendo and announced four exclusive titles for GameCube with support of Capcom's production Studio 4, which include Resident Evil 4. The development of Resident Evil 4 began after the release of Devil May Cry in 2001 and the game becoming part of ambitious Capcom 5 and collaboration with Nintendo as an exclusive title, and the game will be released on 11th of January 2001 in North America, and in Japan released 16 days later as Biohazard 4, making this game release earlier in North America than in Japan, and received a masterpiece reviews becoming the best GameCube game in 2005. And Resident Evil 4 is the third-person shooter, which becoming revolution for survival horror with third-person shooter as well. Becoming also stated that Resident Evil 4 will not be released outside of GameCube. However, the game will be before release on PlayStation 2 on 25th October 2005 in North America and in Japan released 10 days later. So you can imagine Capcom original game that from Nintendo before ported into rivals like PlayStation 2 and released it near Halloween 2005. That's bananas though. So after success of Resident Evil 4, Mikami left the Studio 4 and joining originally established Clover Studios in July 2004, which all employ all-star lineup of Capcom development talent like Hatoshi Inaha and Hideki Kamiya. At Clover, Mikami directed Godhand, a beaten up comedy game that parodied American and Japanese pop culture, and the game was released on as a PlayStation 2 exclusive on 14th of September 2006 in Japan and in North America on 10th of October 2006. And the game received an average reviews and becoming cool following as well. Following Clover Studio closed in 2007, God Hand becoming the last becoming game when he was Capcom employee. So imagine the game is underrated and becoming cult following though. So the studio closed by Capcom and yeah, creating new studio anyway. On 1st of August 2006, the three former Capcom employees, including Shinji Mikami himself, founding Seeds Inc. and merged into Odds Inc. into Platinum Games on the 1st of October 2007. And in 2006, he also formed a private development studio called Stray Story, and they worked on the Platinum Game branding. He is contract employee of his company when he was founded. He also collaborated with grasshopper manufacturers Koichi Suda on Shadows of the Dam, which Unreal Engine 3, and published by EA. So during his development with Platinum came to make Fan Game as a third-person shooter, which is similar to Resident Evil 4 before. And the game is a collaboration with Sega. As the publisher want to help Platinum Games to develop the game was released on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 on 19th of October 2010 in North America and 21st of October 2010 in Japan and Australia. And the game received positive reviews, and also the game sold over 1 million units worldwide. As Platinum Games becoming understaffed, Mikami sends Vanquish staff to make future Bayonetta games, and Mikami considers his final years at Platinum Game as the worst of his career. So imagine Mikami was leaving the company when he was found. That was sad. Even though Mikami was success to make games, studio when he was found. He left them. He left the studio when he was found. That was very sad. On 1st of March 2010, Mikami founded Tango Game Works, and 17 days later, a teaser website opened as a Mikami project with countdown attached. The studio website changed into the job employment page of Mikami founded studio, Tango. And on October 28, 2010, ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda Software, announced Mikami joined ZeniMax after the acquisition of Tango Gameworks. On April 2012, when Japanese video game magazine Famitsu interviewed Mikami revealed the codename titles Way for its 2014 survival horror, The Evil Within, and also known as Japan as Psycho Break, and the game released on 14th of October 2014 in Europe and in North America, and on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC. And the game also released on 23rd of October 2014 in Japan, making the game receive a positive reviews. Even the game was released in Japan alone, sold a physical version of the gig better than the digitalized version, while in the UK and North America, the also same format, which PC version sells better on digital version, while console version are more diverse too. Following the release of Devil Within, Mikami becoming the executive producer of the sequel of Evil Within, then Ghostwire Tokyo, and Hi-Fi Rush. Sadly, on 23rd of February 2023, Bethesda announced that Mikami will leaving Tango Gameworks in coming months, making another studio when he was founded and leaving, since he leaving Platinum Games. So this is sad when Platinum Games want Mikami leaving and Bethesda want Mikami leaving at Tango. That was very sad when the company when he was found leaving and the founder as well. And in 2024, Mikami founded its new studio named Kamui, which the future Mikami game will make a new video game under Kamui unfounded games. So can Shinji Mikami to avoid mistakes like in Platinum Games and Tango Gameworks? Well, probably not. I wish Mikami will make new video game under Kamui, which the new studio founded Mikami himself. This will be a successful, I hopefully. So thank you for making new storytelling English. So we make new storytelling in Indonesia and English. So don't forget, like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'm Zizo and see you on the next video.